Monday is going well. Just keep in mind we are recording. As we go on to the next slide, I wanted to start off by stating that I am one of the UC Berkeley representatives. I'm going to do a quick pass on to Daphne to introduce herself. I'm not sure if she can't unmute, but if she can't, so Daphne is from UC CSU Fresno. We have Brittany from Northridge, Andrea from CSU Los Angeles, Letty from Long Beach, Jordy from Northridge, Adaya from Baptist University, and then we have Tara from UCLA. Moving forward, here are our board of directors. We have Nicole, Alicia, Ismari, Elva, and Jennifer. And then I will be passing it on to Dr. Glenn Thomas.
Hi, my name is Glenn Thomas, and I formed 23 Strong some years ago. I was director of Region B on the California NASW chapter. And I just want to welcome you today to the NASW Scholarship and Licensure Info session. 23 Strong, we hope that all of you continue to be involved with 23 Strong. This is your organization of 10,000 social work students here in California. And I just really proud of everything that all of you have been able to do, and continues to grow and develop, and really welcome you to be involved with us as an organization itself. But so happy that you're here today.
Thank you, Dr. Glenn Thomas. From here, I will be passing it on to Letty. They will be reading our mission statement.
Hello, everyone. So our 23 Strong Council mission statement is: the purpose of 23 Strong Council is for student leaders from the 23 accredited California social work programs to collaborate through organized efforts and calls to action to combat social injustice and change public policy that oppresses and marginalizes at-risk and vulnerable populations. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Danny.
Thank you so much, Letty. So just keeping an eye out, today is November. Of course, we have our scholarship info session. Our next one will be in February. So please do keep an eye out for that. That will be a virtual career panel. And then we have a lobby date in April. And then from here, I will be passing it on to Tara to introduce one of our first guest speakers.
Thank you, Danny. I have the honor to introduce our guest speaker, Jolene Hui. As you can see, she has an extensive bio and many accomplishments. Jolene Hui, MSW LCSW, is the Director of Membership for NASW California, adjunct part-time faculty at California State University, Dominguez Hills, and a therapist in private practice, specializing in maternal mental health and LGBTQ+ populations. She was a Coursework Mental Health Stipend Award recipient and previously a psychiatric social worker for the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health in both an outpatient clinic and for men's jail mental health services, where she worked with the incarcerated LGBTQ+ population. She serves as a commissioner for the city of Long Beach, where she is the vice chair on the Homeless Services Advisory Committee. She is also a Doulas of North America trained birth doula. She is a proud Bruin who graduated from UCLA with her MSW in 2011 and a mama to two beautiful children. So we're so happy to have Jolene with us today. And I'll pass it over to Jordy, who will be introducing our second guest speaker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is my honor to introduce Alan Young. Alan Young is a current MSW student at Arizona State University. He's a certified substance abuse counselor with over 6 years of experience and 12 years of sobriety. He has worked with adolescents as well as adults and has experience working with veterans, former inmates, families, and individuals with eating disorders. His experience includes one-on-one counseling, group therapy, family therapy, and biosound therapy. The prospect of working in a micro-social work drew him to the NSW, and he hopes to expand his understanding on what role social work can play in society. Prior to his work in mental health, he was a screenwriter and playwright for various action groups in downtown Los Angeles. When he's not busy working on his master's, he's either working on writing a novel or watching cartoons while he's tutored. Okay, I'll pass it on to Danny.
Thank you all. So just a quick slide right here. So we are accepting donations. Feel free to use the QR code on your phones as a quick link. Anything is deeply appreciated, and this is just to kind of keep us moving forward and having more of these events. And then also don't forget to connect with us, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and of course our Gmail. We also have a website that you can all visit and get to know a little bit more about what we do. And I just wanted to share a quick thanks for everyone who's here tonight before I pass it on to our guest speakers. Once again, these events that we do are because of all you who are interested. So I will pass it on to Jolene first. Thank you, Jolene. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here with 23 Strong and your audience. It's nice to see all of you from around the state. Zoom is so exciting in that way. So I'm going to share my screen. So what I will talk about first is I'm going to go ahead and give you, background information on NASW, what we are. I'm sure most of you know this, but I do want to share with you what we offer and then also update you on some current initiatives that we're working on. And then I will pass it on to Alan, who will talk about our scholarships that mostly are through the NASW Foundation in Washington, D.C. And then we have a couple of statewide scholarships that he will talk about as well. And after he's done with that portion, he's going to bounce it back to me and I'll talk about licensing. So my licensing presentation is typically a full hour. I have 50 plus slides for that presentation, but I know it's something that you all are interested in. So I'm just going to give you a mini version of that presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Once again, thank you all for inviting us here. We're really happy to be here. I work for NASW as a director of membership. We are the largest organization of professional social workers. We have over 100,000 members, nearly 15,000 student members. We're all over 55 local chapters. I'm going to be talking really fast since we do have a lot of information to get through in the next 45 minutes or so. The wonderful thing about NASW is that we support the social work mission. So although we are a professional association, and of course we support social workers and social workers along, all throughout their career, we also support the entire mission of social work. And so the primary mission of the social work profession is to enhance human well-being and help meet the basic needs of all people, with particular attention to the needs of those who are vulnerable, oppressed, and living in poverty. So not only are we working to help social workers, we are working to help our communities. NASW, as most of you know, we oversee these code of ethics. We drafted the code of ethics, the core values and ethical principles that guide our profession. NASW does have procedures for professional review. We do ethics consultations, and we also do professional review for our members who maybe have ethical violations or complaints against them. So what do we offer as far as professional association? We offer professional development, advocacy, and membership services. So for professional development, typically we have our in-person events. Our largest event is Lobby Days. I'll be talking a little bit more about that. And that is, our event that is typically in person, and we have 1,500 of us getting together in Sacramento at the convention center. Then we go out on Monday and we lobby, we advocate for a handful of bills that NASW California is supporting. So that is our largest in-person event. This year it will be virtual. We also have our annual conference, which is always in the fall, October or November. It was virtual this year. I believe we might be doing virtual again next year. So those are our largest events. We also have our, in terms of professional development, we also have our online continuing education program, which is our catalog that we have on socialworkweb.com, offers pre-licensure courses for those who might need them, offers license renewal CEUs, and we are in the process of expanding that catalog. So keep an eye out on that. In terms of all other in-person events, our regions, our local units, our councils like you also have events. So we have a lot of offerings in terms of professional development. Advocacy, we have our legislative political branch. We have our director of government relations who is working like 24/7 on advocacy with her legislative committee. They go through all the bills that are going through our legislature, and they determine what ones that NASW will support. We also have public education. In terms of membership services, we have practice help, we have a research journal, we have professional benefits and services, we have a number of credentials that you can get through us, discounted liability insurance, everything. Obviously, joining as a student benefits you throughout your career. So all the benefits that you have access to as a professional member, you have access to as a student. We have news and information, advocacy efforts like I've talked about, career resources. We have National has virtual career fairs, usually once or twice a year. We have training and education. We have ethics and legal guidance. So if you are a member, you can call our national office and they have legal consultations as well as ethical consultations. And we do those free at the chapter level as well. And I spend a lot of my time doing those ethical consultations. We have practice resources, discounted malpractice insurance, which is actually really great, really affordable coverage. And really the most important part of NASW is building your professional network. Once you are a member with NASW, you are a member with our national association as well as our California chapter. And then you can see these are the regions that we are broken down into. I'm not sure if all of you know this, but if you're a member, you have access to our My NASW forum. We have a California community that is specific to California members where you can go on and interact with other members in California. Also, students have a community. I don't have this on the slide, but any student member has access to a student community. And from what I hear, it's very active. One of our membership interns, Sage Brand, they help manage that community. Member networking, really big through NASW. Probably, like I said, it's the largest, most valuable benefit to being an NASW member. We have state, regional, and local events, leadership development. I mean, you can run for a spot on our board. Dr. Glenn Thomas has been a board member for a number of years. We currently are slating our candidates for our next round of elections. So if you are interested in running for office, please email membership@naswca.org and I will link you up to our Committee on Nominations and Leadership Identification so that you can run for office. It's a great opportunity to be a leader, to meet social workers in your area, to meet social workers from across the state. We have our special interest groups, our councils, such as 23 Strong. We have a number of other councils. Our LGBTQ plus council just got going once again. I see that one of our co-chairs of that council is in this meeting right now. We also have our Council on Aging, which has an event this Thursday. We have a number of councils all around the state. Social media. Look at social media, you'll find what we're all doing there. Just another reminder that Lobby Days is coming up. Please attend. I know it's kind of a bummer that it's virtual again this year, but it's still going to be a great experience, I hope. Like I said, we have the liability insurance. As students, please get your liability insurance. You can still be sued. We have free and discounted online courses for members. Up-to-date practice information, ethics and legal guidelines. So like I said before, we have the free ethical consultation. So please feel free to call us if you have an ethical consult that you need. I want to remind you all, if you didn't know this, we do have a virtual peer support group that is free. It's the second Monday of every month. So please sign up on our website. You will get a link. You can come 7 o'clock, second Monday of every month. We are there for you. This is talking about, career resources. I know there are sample resumes and whatnot on National's site. some important websites for you. Please sign up for our newsletter, naswcanews.org. That goes out twice a month, and it has everything that's going on in this state is posted in that newsletter. I want to tell you about some of the advocacy updates that are happening right now. So currently, we're working on our legislative agenda for 2022. We're advocating to increase the social work workforce, still finalizing our proposal, but it should include money for social work programs to graduate more MSWs, including stipends for field placements, grant assistance for nonprofits to be able to obtain supervision for field placements, plus money for social work programs on campus. So this is one of our goals, to help social work students. So this is on our agenda currently. We're also, one of the big things that we're working on, I mean, we're continuously working on title protection, but now we're working on a potential title protection bill with Senator Eggman's office. Stay tuned for more details on that. Of course, we'll keep you all posted as that progresses, hopefully. For online education at socialworkweb.com, I did mention these first two bullet points already, that we have these free courses right now. Also coming in December and January, we have an Introduction to Advanced Directives course for social workers who are interested in the medical field. February, we're offering a live course on queer theory by Sac State Social Work Department Chair Dr. Arguello. So that's exciting. Excited about that. And then some other chapter updates. We have our virtual lobby days registration. Like I have mentioned a couple times, the registration is open. April 3rd and 4th is the event. Please register. We have our ASWB exam prep registration. That's in February. You're not quite there yet. We're going to talk about the licensing process later. But I did want to let you know that we do offer these types of events. Save the date, we have a macro social work symposium coming up in May. So May 20th, 2022, we have that coming up. We're piloting a pipeline project to support foster youth entering the social profession in the Los Angeles area. Providing technical assistance around systems transformation at the state and regional levels to reimagine first response and cross-sector collaborations. And then finally, another chapter update that's really exciting is we're planning a membership scholarship. So more info to come. We will be funding some memberships for people in the coming year, hopefully. So you'll hear more about that. All right, so I'm going to stop there. Those are some chapter updates, what we offer, what we have going on now. And from here, I do want to pass it over to Alan, who will share with you our scholarships that we have available through NASW.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Alan. So I'll be talking about the scholarships here. Real quick, I did want to address, somebody in the chat asked if the CEUs that we offer cover both substance abuse counselor certification and social work certification. I don't know the answer to that. However, we do have, let me see if I can share my screen here with you. All right. So as you can see, our website here for our social work CE units, we do offer a bunch of different classes, and as you can see, the credits, it kind of tells you where the credits will go to. So one's for ethics, and then going down a little bit here, we have credits for substance use disorder. As I said, I don't know if that covers the CCAP renewal, because I had to go through that myself, and I know that they're pretty picky about which classes you can count for credit. But anyway, so I'll start talking about our scholarships here. Okay. All right, so the NASW has four different scholarships that are available for us. The NASW Foundation fellowships help provide financial resources to support students pursuing a variety of social work specialties. The foundation offers 2 scholarships, the Consuelo W. Gosnell Memorial Scholarship and the Vern Lamar Lyons Memorial Scholarship. We offer 2 additional scholarships, the Dynaming Chen Bilingual Scholarship and the Native American Birdwoman Student Scholarship, and those are offered exclusively to the NASWCA members. So the first 2 are nationally offered, and the other 2 are specific to us in California. Consuelo W. Gosnell Memorial Scholarship is awarded to master's level candidates in social work who have demonstrated a commitment to working with or having a special affinity with Native American, Alaska Native, and Hispanic and Latino populations. Candidates who've demonstrated a commitment to working with public or voluntary nonprofit agencies or with local grassroots in the United States are also eligible. So the namesake, a little bit about the history here. Consuelo W. Gosnell was a champion of civil and human rights and worked diligently to improve conditions for critically underserved American Indians and Latinos in the Southwest. She practiced for many years in federal agencies, including the U.S. Department of Health, Education and Welfare, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So the guidelines for this particular scholarship, it's awarded based on the projected annual earnings to the fund and contributions. So how much we give out is dependent on how much we get in. A panel reviews applicants and selects the award recipient. So up to 10 scholarships of up to $4,000 each would be awarded. In this last go round, 10 scholarships in the amount of $2,000 were each awarded. To apply, students must be a member of NASW. So being a member is not just good for your professional, but it's also good for your pocketbook. And have applied to or have been accepted into an accredited MSW program. In addition, students must have the potential for completing an MSW program and have a grade point average of 3.0 or above. Students enrolled in a Master of Social Work program for more than 1 year may reapply to the foundation for part or all of the second year. Moving on, we have the Vern Lamar Lyons Scholarship. It's awarded to master's degree candidates in social work who demonstrate an interest or who've had experience with health or mental health practice and have a commitment to working in the African American communities. Our previous recipients now work in hospitals, medical clinics, and social services agencies that provide and specialized services to African American clients, and others have gone into broader leadership services. So about the namesake here, the scholarship is a memorial to Vern Lamar Lyons, a social worker and NASW staff member who died in 1989 waiting for a heart transplant. They're committed to increasing awareness of the pernicious health concerns affecting African Americans, such as insufficient prenatal care, infant mortality, AIDS, cirrhosis, and general life expectancy. Scholarships are based on projected annual earnings and contributions. Once again, what we're able to give out is what we got in, with generous support from Tamara L. Harris Foundation, and there's a total of 6 Lyons scholarships in the amount of $4,330 each, which that was the last go around. This is what we awarded. Once again, you must be a member to have applied for this, and also accepted into an accredited MSW program. Grade point average 3.0 or above, and students enrolled in an MSW program for more than 1 year may reapply to the foundation again. Okay, this one is specifically for Northern California. So this is the Dynaming Chen Bilingual Scholarship. A little bit about her. She was an LCSW and an ACSW and was a professional social worker for 54 years and received her master's in social work from the University of Minnesota. She directed youth and family programs in Richmond, Oakland, and San Francisco, and completed her direct service career as a school social worker in San Francisco in 2000. She broke the color barrier as the first Cantonese-speaking Chinese MSW in San Francisco, Chinatown. She helped bring the cultural competence to her work and training with many social workers in clinics, churches, and other private and nonprofit organizations. She advocated for the recruitment and training of social workers of color during the civil rights and war on poverty eras. And in 2007, she was elected a social work pioneer and received the NASW California Chapter's Lifetime Achievement Award and was elected to the California Social Work Hall of Distinction and the University of Southern California School of Social Work. Really incredible person. And so her scholarship, the criteria for that are typically the scholarship is awarded every 2 years. So we just awarded one this year. So the next one will be available in 2023. You must be bilingual in an Asian language.
Yeah, I know.
Including any East Asian language, Southeast Asian language, or Pacific Islander language. You must be enrolled at any of the following universities: San Jose State, CSU East Bay, San Francisco State, or UC Berkeley. So all you UCLA people, I know Jillian was a UCLA person, so but yeah, so this is strictly for NorCal. Applicants do not have to be a current member of the APISWC, but scholarship winners will be required to become actively involved with APISWC as follows. So the beginning 2 months after graduation, recipients will be asked to attend 70% of steering community meetings and 50% of events hosted by APISWC for a 12-month period. So you have to be involved. Our next scholarship is the Native American Birdwoman Student Scholarship. And the goal with this one is to recruit and increase the number of Native American social workers. The NASWCA will provide up to 10 people $1,000 scholarships to Native American undergraduate or graduate social work students in California. Once again, applicants must be a member of the NASW or join NASW to apply. Graduate and undergraduate students must be enrolled in a Council on Social Work Education accredited school, the School of Social Work in California. If you're applying as an undergrad, you must be in your senior year with a declared social work major. If you're applying as a grad student, you must be enrolled or accepted into an MSW program starting in the fall. Previous scholarship recipients are welcome to apply. Once again, understanding that applicants with no history of receiving the scholarship will have priority. So you can't apply twice, but priority is given to the new folks. The NASW Foundation Fellowship helps provide the financial resources to support students pursuing a variety of social work specialties. Foundation fellowships include the Eileen Blackley Doctoral Fellowship and the Jane B. Aaron Doctoral Fellowship. The Aaron Fellowship is currently supplemented by and is part of the Social Work Heals program, which was funded in 2014 by a generous 5-year grant from the New York Community Trust Robert and Ellen Popper Scholarship Fund. So this fellowship, the Jane Bearwald Aaron Doctoral Fellowship, provides a partial support to social work doctoral candidates who are engaged in dissertation research in healthcare and policy and practice. Jane B. Aaron, who died in 1983, devoted her career to creating social policy that was responsive to people's needs. She is best known through her longtime association with New York's Mount Sinai Medical Center and Mills College in California. The Aaron Fellowship is awarded based on the projected annual earnings to the fund and contributions, and a panel reviews applicants and selects the award recipient. So up to $6,000 will be awarded to a social work doctorate candidate whose dissertation focuses on health policy and practice. Dissertations that include a diversity component are strongly encouraged. And as part of the award, the recipient will be expected to submit a final dissertation to the NASW Foundation upon completion. A total of up to $5,500 will be dispersed directly to the recipient's university, and a total of up to $500 will be earmarked for NASW conference attendance and participation in leadership development. So annual conferences and CEUs and things like that. As part of the award, the recipient will be expected to attend and participate in NASW Virtual National Leadership Conference. Once again, we want to have people who are involved in NASW. The Eileen Blackie Doctoral Fellowship it provides partial support to social work doctoral candidates who are engaged in dissertation research and welfare policy and practice. Dr. Eileen Blackley was known for methods that enabled professionals to identify and address the social work needs of society from the unique social work perspective. The fellowship program was established in 1987 as a tribute to Dr. Eileen Blackie, who was the Dean of University of California, Los Angeles, School of Social Work and Social Welfare, and a pioneer in the planning and use of staff development programs in public welfare agencies and in the U.S. Veterans Administration. So in recent years, the fellowship has been awarded in the amount of $4,000 to $6,500. One fellowship is awarded to a social work doctoral candidate whose dissertation focuses on welfare policy and practice. Dissertations that include a diversity component are encouraged. The fellowship award will be dispersed directly to the recipient's university, and funds in the amount of $500 will be earmarked for conferences and professional development. And as part of the award, the recipient will be expected to attend and participate in NASW's National Leadership Conference and submit a final dissertation to the NASW Foundation upon completion. So to apply, I'll go ahead and put these links in the chat because I know it's kind of hard to take a screenshot or whatever. But yeah, so here's where you can apply for each of the scholarships. As I said, the Dynaming Chan Scholarship won't be up until 2023. So we strongly encourage that you sign up for our newsletter because we kind of keep you up to date via newsletter. And here's to apply for the fellowships. And also to find out more about the NASW Foundation, please visit us at naswfoundation.org. And for the NASWCA, you want to go ahead and go to naswca.org. If you have any questions about specific scholarships, you can always contact us at contact@naswca.org, NASW Foundation at socialworkers.org. And if you're interested in the Dynaming Chan Scholarship, you go ahead and email at api@apicouncil.org. So once again, I'll go ahead and put all that stuff in the chat in case anybody wants to click around and kind of look at the websites or anything like that. So that's it.
Alan, can you send those slides to 23 Strong as well?
Sure, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alan, for presenting on those. So as you can see, most of our scholarships and our fellowships are through the NASW Foundation. So we didn't have this information compiled before, and the foundation didn't provide anything. So I thank you to Alan for putting that all together for us. Alan is our membership, one of our membership interns. So that wasn't in his bio, but I wanted to thank him and to share with you all that he's actually an intern with us at NASW California. So I'm going to continue on with the licensure portion. Like a slide presentation, but oh gosh, and my internet connection is unstable. Of course, when I'm getting to this juicy stuff here right now, hopefully I'll hang on here and you'll be able to hear this. But I'm giving you the main points. I will give you the main points. So it looks like we have about 20 minutes. Okay, I'm going to talk fast here. So I will talk through this quickly. You don't really need to worry about this yet until you are on the brink of graduation, because you cannot start accruing your hours until you have MSW from a CSWE accredited university. So just keep that in mind. You do start accruing your hours post-graduation. So this is an overview of the process. You graduate with an MSW from an accredited university, which you are all a part of. You will take certain pre-licensure courses. And for those of you in California, for the majority of students in California, you do not need these pre-licensure courses. I'm going to go through each of these sections at lightning speed. So don't worry, this is just the outline of what I'm talking about. You'll register as an associate clinical social worker as an ASW. After you register, you will then take and pass the California Law and Ethics exam, and you have to attempt the exam before your first renewal. Essie, I saw you had a lot of questions in the chat. Hopefully I'll hit all those for you. You will accumulate 3,000 supervised work experience hours in 104 supervision weeks. After you have your number, you will be accruing your hours. You will take and pass the National Association of Social Work Boards clinical level exam, and this is the last step in the licensing process. Like I said, you'll be completing pre-licensure required coursework. These are the courses that you need. This is the coursework that you need, that the board requires you to have. So you need these certain areas: child abuse assessment and reporting, human sexuality, substance abuse and dependency, spousal abuse assessment and reporting, aging and long-term care. Finally, this new requirement that happened January 1st, 2021, suicide risk assessment and intervention. So you need content in each of these areas, because if this was a longer session, I would ask you why, but these are really the basic areas that social workers need to have knowledge in, because we work in all these different areas and we do need to have knowledge in all these different areas. You can find a list of specific courses that are offered by your school that meet these requirements, but what I'm going to tell you right now is when you go to the BBS site, you look at social work schools in California, most of you, it will say no additional courses required, because for the majority of you, you do not need any additional courses. So you don't even have to worry about these pre-licensure courses that I'm talking about. So I'm not even going to go through all this, because most of you do not need these. If you are living in California and you're attending an out-of-state program, you will need these courses. And if you need these courses, the coursework must be taken from a BBS approved provider. We at NASW California, we are an approved provider, and we offer all this coursework in online or in-person courses, currently just online. But when we do offer in-person coursework, we usually have like CE fairs, they're called, in Northern and Southern California, where you can get these requirements. Go to socialworkweb.com and you'll see that all of these requirements are there. All right, so let's talk about your registration as an ASW. So after you graduate, remember that, after you graduate, you apply to become an associate clinical social worker. It is somewhat required to accrue your pre-licensure hours. I will tell you there's a new rule that is in effect. But anyway, overall, it's required to accrue your pre-licensure hours. The ASW application packet on the BBS site, it has actually very detailed instructions. So don't worry, once you go there, you can see that PDF. It will list everything out in great detail for you. When do you register? Don't register until you're ready to start collecting hours. Most likely you should register immediately after you receive your transcript. So if you know that you want to get your hours, you know you want to be licensed, you know that's the kind of job you're looking for, then definitely apply. Even if you don't have a job yet, apply. If you are planning on taking a long vacation, you don't really know what you're going to do after you graduate, you might be leaving social work altogether, do not get your ASW number, because it's only good for 6 years. And we'll talk about that a little later. So most likely, if you are interested in licensure, get it right away, apply right away. So the packet that I was talking about, that's very detailed, you will fill out this application. I do like to note that the address is public. So when you're putting your address on that, don't put your home address. Put an address that you're comfortable with. Your work address, a PO box. I have a PO box for all business things. Put something that you're comfortable with the public seeing. The board is part of the Department of Consumer Affairs. For consumer protection, they want to have your address out there for people. So please, to protect yourself, use a different address other than your home. You do need to pay $150, of course. You will be paying along the way here. Official copy of academic transcripts. You do need to provide your transcripts, and they can be mailed to the board, or they can be sent electronically. And this is a new thing. During COVID, the board finally put this in place to where you can actually have your school registrar office email the BBS your transcripts. You do need to do a live scan, even though you've all probably done one for your internship. You will be doing one for employment. You need to do one for licensure as well. And you need to allow at least 60 days for processing. Hopefully, it won't take that long. If it's in the spring, it's busy time, it may take 8 weeks. If it's at sort of an off time, it may take like 4 weeks. Just so you know, our Rehabilitation and Inclusion Council is available to provide guidance related to the application process for those with criminal records. And there are steps one should take prior to applying with the board, specifically while in grad school within 4 to 6 months of graduation. So if this is you, if you want some guidance, if you happen to have a history, you know what? It doesn't mean you're not going to get your ASW, doesn't mean you can't be licensed. It just might take a few more steps. So please email our Rehabilitation and Inclusion Council at ricouncil@naswca.org, and they will help you out. Okay, so I will talk more about when you can accrue your hours for that first bullet. Check the BBS website. So once you've applied, you've submitted your ASW, all the packet, everything has gotten to the BBS, they will post your number online. There is an online license verification on the BBS website so that people can go on there and verify that their LCSW is indeed licensed and they have a license in good standing. Well, you can go on there and you can check. So you will most likely see it pop up, your number, your ASW number, pop up online before you get the letter in the mail, which is 7 to 10 days after your number is posted. In that letter, if for some reason you need to take any additional coursework, they will tell you that you need to take pre-licensure courses. So do not worry. Okay, so as I said before, you need your number to start accruing your hours. There's actually a 90-day rule as of 2019, and what it says is that so as long as you're applying for your ASW number within 90 days after graduation, you can start accruing your hours right when you start working after you get that MSW, if that makes sense, so that you're not losing those 8 weeks. Remember, I told you it could be 8 weeks until you get your number. I remember when I was waiting, it was very annoying because I lost that time because I didn't have my number. But as long as you're working, you had a live scan for your employer, you have your degree, you've applied for your ASW number within 90 days, you can count those hours right after you graduate before you get that number. And this is a really good thing. So that's the ASW information. Oh my gosh, running against time here, 11 minutes. So there is a California Law and Ethics exam that you need to take, and so it must be taken prior to the first ASW renewal. So your ASW does need to be renewed every year, and you continue to renew it annually until your clinical hours are accrued. And so you have to take that exam in that first year. It doesn't matter if you don't pass it. If you don't pass it, you do have to take a 12-hour California Law and Ethics course in order to renew your ASW number. And of course, you will keep attempting that exam until you pass it, because you do have to pass it before you take that national clinical level exam. All right. So let's talk about your clinical experience briefly. So once you're registered, you're gaining your hours. You do need to have 3,000 hours of supervised experience. That's 104 weeks of supervision. 104 weeks of supervision. You might hit that 2 years of weekly supervision and have way more than 3,000 hours. That's just the threshold. They want you to have 2 years of weekly supervision. These hours can be paid work. That means you have to be a W-2 employee. You cannot be an independent contractor accruing your hours, and or you can volunteer. Okay, so here's just some bullet points about your clinical hours. You do need, of those 3,000, you need a minimum of 2,000 in the face-to-face clinical category, 2,000 in clinical psychosocial diagnosis, assessment, and treatment, with no less than 750 hours being face-to-face psychotherapy. And then you can have up to 1,000 hours in client-centered advocacy, consultation, evaluation, and research. And I think this is really great for social workers because we don't just do that clinical treatment. We do so many other things. And so it's really great that it's allowed to count hours for these other areas, especially when a lot of us do clinical case management and we are doing advocacy, we are consulting, we are, doing evaluation and research. 1,700 of your 3,000 hours have to be gained under an LCSW. The remainder can be under another licensed mental health professional who's qualified. So just make sure there are supervision documents that you need, responsibility statements, supervisory plans, clinical social work experience verification forms. Keep track of all those. You need a set of all those for each supervisor that you have, so do not lose those forms. Here's a breakdown of hours. I do not have time to go through these, but they are in the presentation, so you can take a look at it. Do you want to talk about supervisors? Find a qualified supervisor. Like I said, 1,700 of your hours have to be under an LCSW. They can be under another license. The rest can be under another type of licensed mental health professional. They have to be licensed for at least 2 years. They have to have taken a 15-hour supervision course that's approved. And there are other requirements that are listed in the laws and regulations. They could be your work supervisor or contracted outside supervisor. You can also pay for a supervisor, but in that case, there has to be a signed agreement between the supervisor and employer conferring authority and responsibility. You have to have supervision every week for at least 1 hour of individual or triadic. That means 2 ASWs to 1 supervisor, or 2 hours of group supervision. The group supervision maximum is 8, and supervisors can only supervise 3 in private practice. So this means if you have an outside supervisor, you are contracting with someone, maybe a clinician in private practice, they can only take on 3 of you in their private practice. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, you will want to go back to this because it shows you, you do have to have a minimum of 52 weeks of that individual or triadic supervision. You can have group, but you have to have that 52 weeks of individual or triadic. There's a 6-year rule, so that means you have 6 years to complete your hours. If you don't and you have to get another ASW number, that means the board only counts 6 years back. So let's say you have your first number, each ASW number lasts 6 years. You complete some hours under that first number, but you're not done. So you apply for a subsequent number. If you have that one for 3 years, the board only counts the last 3 years of the first number. So try to get your hours done in those 6 years. There might be some shifting of this rule. I know the BBS has been discussing this, so just keep that in mind. After all this is done, you will want to file that LCSW application. And so that application is listed under forms and publications, and you can continue to work and provide therapy while you're waiting. Like I told you, ASW numbers are only good for 6 years. If your registration expires, you have to pass a law and ethics exam in order to obtain a subsequent registration number. So if you haven't passed that law and ethics exam, you've been taking it every year, not passing it, you do have to pass it before you can get another ASW number. The clinical level exam, it has to be passed within 7 years of an individual's attempt. If not passed within the time frame, then your eligibility is placed on hold and you will have to take the law and ethics exam again because it's been like a decade since you took it. So the moral of this story is just do everything as quickly, as swiftly as you can. And if you do not pass that clinical level exam, you have to attempt it at least once a year to keep your file active. If for some reason you don't, like you forget, you have something happen, you could lose all of your hours. That is written in the law that you have to attempt it at least once a year to keep your file active. You don't want to have to do your hours all over again. You can retake the exam after 90 days. So if you don't pass it, you have 90 days and then you can retake it. I would recommend doing that after the 90-day waiting period. 3 months is actually a really good amount of time to study for the clinical level exam. I have to throw these financial considerations in here for you. I'm not going to talk through all of them, but you can see how expensive it is to get licensed. So you're going to want to do it as quickly as possible. You don't want to take these exams more than once. The clinical exam costs $260. Please pass it on the first try. And then, oh my gosh, there it is. Student membership. So join NASW now as a student. It's $60. Once you're professional, it's $236. If you're a student member, you get 3 years of a transitional rate before you hit that professional rate. If you don't join as a student and you decide to join right after you graduate, you have to pay that $236. So please join NASW, take advantage of our benefits, lean on us for licensure support. We are there at the BBS meetings. As you saw, you have to be an NASW member to have access to those scholarships and fellowships, so please join. Here's my contact information, and I will be sending these slides to 23 Strong so that you'll have these. Oh my gosh, that was the fastest I've ever talked through that information before. And I'm sure there are about 3 million questions in the chat. So we have a few minutes. Anyone have questions? I don't know how you want to handle questions, 23 Strong.
I believe Jordy put them in the chat one more time.
Yes, I just inputted the first one that was asked at the beginning.
Okay, how early can you apply for your license? I think I went through that. I mean, you have to go through that process. So you can apply for your AS. I think you mean ASW, and you can apply as soon as you graduate. Can you do the law and ethics exam at any point to count for licensure renewal? No, it needs to be within that first year of having your ASW. Additional training or coursework listed in licensure requirements. Do appropriate CEs count when trying to meet all the individual hourly requirements? And if so, who approves the CEs, and do they need to be supervised? So you need to take those CEUs from an approved provider. So NASW California has all those courses on our socialworkweb.com website. And those are BBS approved providers. Also, the BBS has entities that they have approved to be approved providers. It's very complicated, but please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about that. In terms of the 104 weeks of clinical supervision requirement, does it have to be an LCSW? I did answer that. So 1,700 of those 3,000 hours have to be from an LCSW. 1,300 can be from a psychologist that meets all the requirements. And the supervision requirements are all listed in the laws and regulations. There are quite a few requirements to be a supervisor, but the main two I listed, and that's having an active license for 2 years and completing that 15-hour supervision course. So those are the main requirements, but there are a number. What's the best recommended system for tracking your hours? I think Track Your Hours. I think that's one that people have. It's an app that you can use. I think that's what most people use. You can also, the BBS has some forms on their website that you can take a look at. Please do track everything. The BBS does not ask you for all your tracked forms. They ask for one clinical, a verification form of your hours, but you will want to track everything in case they ask to look at it, in case they audit you. So definitely, however you want to track them somehow. Let's see. Are those scholarships only for first students, or can you apply if you graduate this coming spring? So they do. So the scholarships, you do have to be in a program to receive the scholarships. If you graduate, you're not eligible anymore. Does Department of Children and Family Services social work count toward the 1,000 hours of non-clinical work? So in terms of that hour breakdown and what you can count and what you can't count, that'll be up for you. That'll be up to you and your supervisor to discuss. So they can tell you. And yes, people working at DCFS can definitely accrue their licensure hours there. All right, was that it? I think so.
I believe there's one more, Jolene, from Nicole.
About the certified substance abuse counselor.
Mhm.
So in our catalog, I believe those are only for BBS licensed professionals, which are LCSWs, LMFTs, LPCCs. I don't believe they count for certified substance abuse counselors, but you can look in our catalog and it will say in the information. And you can also check with your certification body, your credentialing body, and ask them if our courses count.
Yeah, to speak on that, if you email or call CCAP, they'll be the ones to tell you whether or not you can use the ones offered at NASW for your CEUs.
All right, thank you, Alan and Jolene. I will hand it off to Nicole.
Actually, we're gonna take a quick picture. Andrea, do you mind let us know when you're ready? So if everyone can, if you feel comfortable, turn on your camera, please.
Okay, so ready, 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think I have everyone. Well, thank you everybody for coming. We appreciate you joining us. I'm the president of 23 Strong, so just to quickly introduce myself, we will host the next event next year. So have a wonderful night, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, everyone. Have a great rest of your Monday.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
All right.